If you take nothing else from this speech, know that you are enough. Know that you are worthy. The mere fact that you are in the space changes the very space. So it's not you. It's not you. You know how they used to send those Dear John letters? It's not you. It's me. It's not you. It's them. Because your excellence has put a spotlight on mediocrity. The fact that you are sitting here today rejects the narrative that has been long been told about black people. But you see, there is this African proverb. And it says, until the story of the hunt is told by the lion, the tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. So we know who we're talking about here. For centuries, even up until today, white people have attempted to write the history and narrative, but for black people, but now today, you have the pen. You get to write the story. You get to tell your side. You are in control of the narrative. You don't need anybody's permission to be great. You don't need anybody's approval to walk into your destiny. Do you know the shoulders that you are standing on? Didn't I tell you about Elijah Mars, the co-founder of Simmons, born into slavery, learned how to read, and taught others who were enslaved how to read? And then he was the first black person hired to teach at a school in Simpsonville. You stand on the shoulders of William Simmons. When William was young, his mother escaped slavery with her 3 kids. So you already know how his family got down. William went on to be an apprentice for a dentist, took some time to serve in the Union Army, came back to be a dentist again, and thought, you know what I just might do? I just might be the president of Simmons College. Black people are some bad, shut your mouth. You stand on the shoulders of black men and women who fought to make spaces for you so that you could shine in your brilliance. When they tell the story, they tell it one way. But we know that black people have left their fingerprints all over this nation. Let's just check it out. We invented the fold-out bed, the folding chair, potato chips, the light bulb, blood transfusions, protected mailbox, pacemakers, video games, cataract removal, the tissue holder, any movie with 3D special effects, super soaker guns, the elevator, the microphone, refrigerated trucks, the traffic signal, the cell phone, the ice cream scooper, the dustpan, the squeeze mop, the clothes dryer, the ironing board, home security systems. The list of our contributions to society is endless. That is because of our excellence. Our brilliance has changed the very course of modern day society. And I know you're going to love this here, President Cosby, and then I'm done. I know what they wonder. What else can we do to them? We have tried it all. Nothing seems to work. Enslaved for 100 years, that didn't break them. Black codes, that didn't break them. Jim Crow, that didn't break them. Lynchings, that didn't break them. Mass incarceration, that didn't break them. What manner of people is this? We have tried everything, and still they rise. We have committed every possible atrocity we can think of, and still they rise. We have disenfranchised them, and still they rise. Made it illegal for them to read. They went on to be the presidents of HBCUs. Still they rise. We redlined them, and still they rise. We placed them in food deserts, and still they rise. We dropped crack in their communities, and still they rise. We divided up their families, and still they rise. We denied them adequate health care, and still they rise. Denied them reparations, and still they rise. We broke down their institutions, and still they rise. How? How is it possible that they are still standing? Well, let me tell you, it's the same way that building on Simmons campus that Dr. Cosby took me to is still standing today. Every brick intact, still standing. Even when the storms came, still standing. Even when it rained, still standing. We may bend, but we don't break. Black people do everything with excellence. It's simply simply in our DNA. We don't dwell in the realm of mediocrity. We stand on the shoulders of space makers. We stand in the footprints of giants. Black excellence should be celebrated. Black people, y'all, every single graduate are some of the most amazing, brilliant, intelligent, extraordinary people in the world. Our strength and resilience are unparalleled. I love everything about our blackness, and every day, especially today, I wake up, I'm going to celebrate it with my whole heart, unapologetically. So no matter what they say, be excellent anyway. No matter what they do, be great anyway. Don't apologize. Don't ever apologize for your brilliance. Embrace your excellence. Take up space. Know you're worthy. Know where you came from, and still continue to stand. Thank you.
Hi amazing friends, I hope you are doing well. Welcome back to the channel. I really do appreciate your love and support. It honestly keeps me going. So before we dive into today's video, I want to take a quick moment to thank one amazing subscriber who gifted me a super thanks yesterday. It honestly touched me deeply and made me feel loved. So thank you so much at Junk $2. Now, I came across this video. Some white Americans were saying that their biggest fear is black excellence. And when I heard that, I had to pause because it's true. No matter what is thrown at black people, especially black Americans, there is always this unique strength, this unshakable spirit that keeps them moving forward. So let's play the rest of the clip. Do not forget to let me know what you think about today's video in the comment section. Like the video too, subscribe, and I appreciate you so much for doing that. So let's watch.
As white people, is our deepest fear that we are inadequate? Or is our deepest fear that black excellence is powerful beyond measure? It is their light, not their darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who are they to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are they not to be? Look honestly, and you will see how they demonstrate love as a reflection of our unwarranted hate. Our playing God does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about positioning ourselves and controlling the narrative so that black and brown folks feel insecure around us. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to manifest the glory of the Spirit that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in all of us, no matter what your skin tone is. And as we let our own light shine by atoning for and repairing the harm of our ways, as we learn to serve and see the true greatness of Aboriginal and Indigenous cultures and human beings around us, we unconsciously give white people around the planet the permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. From this point, we can build a new world that is connected to the planet and each other. Together, humanity is achievable.
That there will come a time when black people wake up and become intellectually independent enough to think for themselves, as other humans are intellectually independent enough to think for themselves, then the black man will think like a black man, and he will feel for other black people. And this new thinking and feeling will cause black people to stick together. And then at that point, you'll have a situation where when you attack one black man, you are attacking all black men. And this type of black thinking will cause all black people to stick together. And this type of thinking also will bring an end to the brutality inflicted upon black people by white people. And it is the only thing that will bring an end to it.
If the white male is gonna rule, then he must crush the black male.
Yeah,
White male, you are wrong.
yeah.
Because if in reality, because of white supremacy, you believe that in order for you to survive as a white man, you have to crush a black man's existence, then in crushing our existence, you are doing something to your own. Because ultimately, no power on earth,
No power.
for any long period of time, can keep any man from attaining what God himself has willed for that man.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why racist white people hate immigrants so much, whether or not they conceptually and consciously understand this themselves, is because they only understand migrating and moving to another country or land that is based off of colonization, land theft, and expulsion. Because that is how white people came to Turtle Island, was through a system of conquest, colonization, and genocide. And so these white people have an unconscious fear of other people doing the same thing that we did to them, because that's their only understanding of migration and movement. Because systems of violence and imposing oppressive power structures onto others is so ingrained in whiteness that we think that everyone operates that way. Black and indigenous people is that white fear, like fear of white genocide, that Black and indigenous or Central and South Americans, Arabs, Muslims are all going to rise up and do exactly what we did to them to us.
So I was raised that Black people were God's favorite and they were the superior race. And it was interesting to be raised with that mentality because I think it's different than a lot of how other like white people were raised. And I do believe that if more people were raised this way, the world would be a little bit better of a place and maybe we can get along a little bit nicer together. Obviously, there's pros and cons to everything. So I would love to discuss the pros and cons of what it was like to be raised with this mentality, as well as like what you think about it and what you think we should do going forward to raise the next generation of children who are carrying the future for us. So how this mentality came about, I was really quizzical and curious as a child and very outspoken. It's interesting to look back now that we're in this ginger talk right now. I'm kind of reliving a few of the silly little traumas that we face as gingers. And I noticed that I was more outspoken between the ages of 0 and 8. And once I started getting really made fun of as a ginger, I kind of lost my voice and I wasn't as brave or outspoken and I was shy and timid. So it's kind of interesting to have that realization now so many years later. Anyway, back to the important topic here. The way that this mentality was brought on to me was, as I said, I was very outspoken and, you know, I was quizzical and curious as a child. So before the age of 6, I asked my mom, why do we call them Black people when they're more different shades of brown? And I asked her, why do people treat them differently or call them names? Like, what does this mean? Why is this happening? And how do you explain race and racism to a child that is under the age of 6 in a way that they can understand? Because obviously they're not going to be able to comprehend or grasp the entirety of the depth of what racism really truly is. So how do you explain that to a child? She knew that I loved my brownies and my cookies baked a little bit longer than you're supposed to because the crispy edge of the brownie was always my favorite. And I loved when the chocolate chip cookie was a little bit crispy on the outside and a little gooey on the inside. And that was the perfect way to bake the cookies and bake the brownies. So she used that analogy. And yes, it sounds crazy, but as a 4-year-old child, it made perfect sense. And she used that analogy and she said, you know how you like your cookies and your brownies baked a little bit extra? That's kind of what God did with Black people. He took more time and more love into creating Black people. And that's why they're a little bit darker than you. He just baked them a little bit longer. That's how she described race to me. And she said that anybody who talks badly about them or is mean to them is just jealous. So right away, I was kind of just like completely infatuated and just in awe of Black people, because I'm like, oh my gosh, what is it like to be God's favorite? What is it like to, just be loved a little bit more from God? Like, I just thought it was incredible and amazing. And so I always just gravitated towards Black people because I was like, oh my God, like they're so lucky. Do they know how lucky they are? Like, how cool is it that God spent a little bit more time on them? I was fascinated by it.
Why do they dislike Black success? What is it that fuels their protest? 'Cause we keep winning? We call that finesse. Superior to supremacy. Got you depressed. Your roadblocks reveal you're distressed. So far your system hasn't impressed. All that infighting just looks like a mess. Still with us, why are you so obsessed? You don't have to say it. We know we're blessed. Which is why you attempt to suppress. But God is watching each transgress. You think they're hellbound? I'd say yes. Amen.
Black people are starting to wake up and the spell is over. The veil has lifted, the curse, whatever you want to say that we was under, because some religious groups, specifically I think Mormons, say that Black people are cursed. We ain't going no more. The energy harvesting is not working. The energy siphoning is not working. And I am so proud of us. I am so proud of us. I really feel like there's been a big shift, a big reset. They say this is the age of the Aquarius, but we literally are waking up. They want us to be out in the streets so bad, rioting, looting, protesting, and we ain't going. We ain't got another community, the Latinos, they try to get us out there. They keep going. Why y'all not out here fighting and marching? We ain't going. Now they talking about segregation. Why we don't care. And Black people got a bad take because we all saying we don't give a damn. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. We don't give a damn. We ain't going. We're not allowing you all to steal and siphon our energy. And I love that for us. I love that for us real bad. Like I said, if we had to separate, if something happened, I believe in us so much that I believe that we will flourish. I believe that all that's happening has been a wake-up call to us as a collective to continue to get our eggs in a row, our ducks in a row, our affairs in order, and to continue to put on for ourselves and to pour back into our community. And I really love that for ourselves. I really do. Shouts out to the melanin-rich Americans. Shouts out to us. What y'all think about this? Do y'all feel like there's been a shift? Because I can feel the shift. I can feel it. We're not going. It doesn't work anymore. And we keep saying we ain't our ancestors. We are our ancestors. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. We are them times 10. I love y'all. Spread love is the Brooklyn way.
All right, racists, let's have a chit chat. Why are racist Americans so obsessed with indigenous Black intelligence? Real indigenous Black people weren't uneducated. They just weren't colonized. However, the true indigenous people have always been the most intelligent on this planet, and that's still the case today. Colonizers invented the IQ test to measure intellect when they have none. Statistically, y'all flopped on your own test. And we all know the IQ test was just the SAT for the plantation. Its job? To measure how well you do at mimicking whiteness. You can't enslave the mind and act surprised when it outgrows you. Why are racist Americans so obsessed with indigenous Black intelligence? No, really. They treat Black intellect like it's a mystery creature. Something to be caught, tested, and explained, but never respected. Meanwhile, these are the same people who couldn't even figure out hygiene without creating every terminal disease that is harmful to humans. True parasitic nature. Let's be honest. IQ tests were never neutral. They were created by white supremacists as kind of like a mental border patrol. They weren't afraid that the indigenous Black people would fall. They were afraid that they would pass and surpass white mediocrity, which they did time and time over and over and over again. Which is why the metrics were tweaked every few decades. Even renamed and rebranded the IQ test as the G factor or the cognitive aptitude test. Another goalpost move by a group of people who still struggle with following a recipe. To be expected, as it's the usual behavior of these envious, hateful reptiles who wish they had the essence of creation. When white delusionalists lose, they create another scam to manufacture superiority. Why are racist Americans obsessed with black indigenous intelligence? Because they don't understand it and they can't stop needing it. Remember, they invented IQ tests to gatekeep intellect, not to measure it. First tested on immigrants, then weaponized against black children. Every change in standard creation was always meant to exclude. IQ testing is not about intellect. It's about control. Black people are remembering who built the pyramids, which we know Europeans and their cave-dwelling ancestors are still unable to build basic infrastructure. Yet their low IQ makes them champion some type of Disney belief that they had something to do with the sophistication of the pyramids when they are the stars of the TV shows Hoarders and Intervention. Like, let's be serious with ourselves. The greatest home built by the only white builders, the Amish, it's a square cabin. The literal poster child for limitation. Whiteness is not a benchmark. It's a malfunction.
Welcome back, dear friends. Now, before I say anything, I would like to apologize in advance because today I'm not alone in the room. We have got a guest, a special one, at the background. He's watching cartoons, but he might be making some unnecessary noise. So I hope you will bear with me. Now, back to the video. You see, history shows it. Every obstacle, every setback, every system set to hold black people down. It never works forever. Black people always find ways to create, build, rise, and shine. And that's why there is fear, because deep down, they know that if black people rise to their full potential, it could mean the downfall of the systems and the structures that have been built to keep them in control. And you know, this fear is not something new. It has always been there from the very beginning, from slavery to segregation to mass incarceration. It has always been about trying to stop the rise of the black people. But here is the thing. Every time they try, black people still come back stronger. Every time. And that's what makes black excellence so powerful. It's something that cannot be copied. It can't be erased, and it can't even be stopped. And when you look around today, you see it everywhere. Black culture is the most imitated culture in the world, from music to fashion to language to sports, and even the things that people try to downplay end up being what the whole world wants to copy. But the twist is, while they enjoy the culture, they fear black people. And that's the contradiction, right? Like, they love black creativity, but they fear black progress. They love the rhymes, but they do not want to face the truth behind the struggle. And this is why the idea of black excellence shakes the table so much. Because it's not just about personal success. It's about collective power. It's about when black people unite, support each other, and push forward together, right? And that's exactly why they are afraid. Because it's not just about one individual doing well, but the whole community rising beyond the limits set for them. And I really don't think so that this is about hatred, but I think it's about the fear of losing power fear of equality, fear of what black brilliance and black resilience can no longer be contained. And the uncomfortable truth that they need to sit with is that black people will continue to rise. Black people will continue to thrive because that strength is not given by man. It's something rooted deep inside, something that even history could never erase. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And if you have been doubting yourself, remember this: your greatness is already written. Nothing and no one can take away what's inside you. Keep rising, keep shining, because that in itself is power. So thank you again for being here, supporting me, and also choosing to be part of this amazing community. You know I love you all. Do well to like this video, subscribe. Let me also know what you think about it in the comments. Share it also with your family and friends. And I will see you in my next one. Stay safe and strong. Bye for now.